Hello and welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. In this video, we will be looking at price fluctuation of different cryptocurrencies like XRP, BTC, Ethereum, Litecoin during different time frames. Then we will be moving on to the news and Twitter updates. Please subscribe and support to the channel. Now we will look first XRP on a 12-hour time frame. By just zooming a little bit out, we can see that there is a resistance area here, which was previously a support, now acting as a resistance, then as support, which was acting as a resistance previously in longer time frame. Like that was during late 2017, it was acting as a resistance, after which during 2018 and even recently in 2019 it was acting as a support, but currently we just broke below that. So if we look at our moving averages for XRP in 12-hour time frame, now our 20-day moving average is actually going down to cross 50-day, which is kind of a death cross. That's not that good in that time frame. Then moving a bit out in daily time frame, what we can see is the 20-day moving average has crossed the 50-day average, which is a kind of a golden cross. It's okay, good. Then at 20 crossed 100-day moving average, which is in yellow. That's also positive. Then the 50-day moving average crossed 100-day moving average. Now what we have to look here is, when we were expecting a pump, as there is a golden cross, the price actually came down. So if we look at the price history, what was happening during the previous time when the situation was similar, like say here the 50-day moving average was crossing the 100-day moving average, but the price was actually coming down. The price wasn't actually moving up high, it was actually coming down. After some time, making a new low, then the price started moving higher. So if we actually want to look back at the same scenarios even during the previous time, say here the price wasn't that different. I think this is an area which we can concentrate. Say here the price actually moved in a similar manner, but say when the 50-day average was crossing 100-day averages, the price was coming down, making a low. Again here the difference is the price actually moved up high along with the moving averages. So by collating all these, what we can conclude is, it's not every time a price pump will happen when there is a golden cross, say from 50 to 100 or 50 to 200. Because if we look at this in a weekly time frame, considering the moving averages, the same 200-day moving average is currently a resistance for us, or we are actually trying to battle it out to go above that. I'll just remove this line for a second. So if you look at that, the 200-day moving average, which is in green, is acting as a support resistance now. We went above that, but we couldn't manage, we came back down. We went above that, we couldn't manage, we came back down. But at this particular area, even the 20 and 50-day moving average is acting as a resistance. But what we have to keep in mind is, look at the bottom in the MACD, we have a cross here. We have a cross here. That is actually a good news. But the time window which it will take to actually pump the price even a little bit, 2 to 3% or 5%, is unpredictable, because this is first of all crypto and you can't predict anything. The only good news here is we are making a rounded bottom in daily. We are having a positive cross in MACD on weekly. Then if we move to a closer time frame, looking at what is happening right now, we actually made a new low. Like previously, we actually know that XRP moves in pattern, like 1, 2, 3 and 4. So say it makes a low and starts the pattern again. It tries to print it again. In order to clarify that, or how the print is actually working, you can actually visit to Mr. Level website. He actually showcases that in a pretty clear manner. Now, changing the chart into 4-hour chart to see the trend, we actually have a trend here, a trend line. If we draw that properly, say we are actually being supported at this particular point, and now we are here. It's like a make or break. If we break below that, we may come to another support level around 0.25. But if we are able to manage this area and come above this, there is a possibility that we will try sooner or later the 0.3 area, because that's acting as overhead resistance from a long time now. Here previously, as we can see, it was a support, but now it's acting as a resistance. It's being a resistance all over here. So until we manage to break above, this one looks bad. But if you look at the rounded bottom as well as this forming triangle here, if we manage to break that, then we will move up to 0.37, 0.38 or even higher, considering the formation of a diamond pattern here, which is being talked by many other analysts, because the pattern is actually still valid, because it haven't broke above or below. If you look at that, it's still valid, it's still moving within that pattern. Yeah, there are a lot of different types of patterns forming. It depends on the analyst how you're looking at that. Now we can look at the price of Bitcoin, how it's moving. So if we look at Bitcoin, this 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, we can see a channel forming. It's a downward channel. Now the price is actually at the top of the channel. We tried to break the price here, but wasn't happening at that particular time. We just faked it out. We came back down, we tried it again. Now we moved a little bit down, but if we zoom in, we can see that there was a resistance area here, which will more or less act as a support in this area. And along with that, the 200-day moving average in 4-hour chart is here, so it may support the price there. If it managed to stay there, it's good news. So if you're actually looking to buy in my opinion, I'll say that once the price break through the channel, you can buy it, or you can buy it when it is retesting that area. That'll be a more better position to take yourself. So if we zoom out a little bit and look at that, in MACD we crossed over, we are at the bottom. So yeah, there is a chance that we may bounce a little bit up from here, because we can see that the 50-day average in 12-hour time frame sorry, it's being support here. So if we move out even further, look at it in a daily chart, we can see that the 20-day moving average has crossed the 50. That's actually a good sign. So now the 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average can act as a support. But at the same time, what we have to look here is, in MACD we got a downward cross. So that's not always a good news for a cross in MACD. But if we compare that, say this was the previous cross, and at the same time the price was here. Say we were around 10,000, but the price actually reached around 9,950. So from 10,900 it dropped around $1,000 after the cross, and then it consolidated, then it moved a little bit low around 9,300, then high. So my point is, when we are having a MACD downward cross, you should be actually careful. But at the same time, if you are a long-term trader and you want to come in, I suggest that you can actually look at a bottom somewhere here, say around 8,000. This is not my financial advice. You don't have to open a position, but this is my opinion. If it's me, I'll actually come in around 8,000 or 8,000 to 8,500. So now looking at the chart for Ether, this is a 12-hour time frame chart for Ether. This upper line is currently a resistance, previously a support. Now this one is a support. So in this one, if we actually look at the scientific area of this, say we have previously talked about the Wyckoff pattern, right? So if we look at that, we were coming down, we made a low, but we were not able to manage close the price below that. We came up. Now we faked out like we were going down but went up high. So I believe this is like a spring, this is like an ST, and this is like a spring. In that aspect, we can actually retest this area and break this triangle. So if you are to trade, I will suggest that you can buy after the breakout or the retest, as I told, similar to the Bitcoin. But the difference is that it's a downward sloping channel, here it's a horizontal channel. So once the price managed to go above that, it's actually a good sign. So what we talked about XRP is a bit different here. Say the same thing for Ether is in a good area currently. The MACD is going to cross in a weekly to the upside in a couple of weeks. And most of the time when that happens, sometime it will take 1 or 2 weeks. But after that, the price actually moves up high. But the word for caution here is, if you compare this area, was going to cross, but it immediately crashed. Then it slowly recovered and started that run from the bottom of 82 up to 364. So that was actually a good pump if you are in around 80s or 90s, but not when you are in at 200. But still, from 200 to 360 is a good profit margin. You got around 50-60% in profit. But that was not the right time to buy, even though your decision was right, that price will be moving high, but the timing was not that perfect. So while trading, timing is better. If you can perfect your timing, it's more important. Otherwise, you should be patiently waiting for the price to come back high. Now, if we look at that in a daily, it's opposite, right? The weekly was actually going to cross up high, but the daily is showing that the price may move a little bit down before it moves up high. At the same time, our 20-day moving average is actually crossing the 50-day moving average. So both can act as a support and then move up high. But still, what we have to look at it, the 100-day moving average will be acting as a resistance because it's above this. So in the shorter time frame, if we look at what is happening currently, for me it looks a bit positive because the MACD is gonna cross over to the upside, and both the 200-day moving average and 100-day moving average in 4-hour chart is acting as a support here. So for me, if I were to trade in a short time frame, I'll be going in, but I'm not a short-term trader. I don't usually trade in short time. Okay, now looking at LTC, it's having a big difference here. It already crossed in daily. The MACD has already crossed in a 12-hour time frame. Sorry, that was my mistake. It's 12-hour. And currently the 50-day and 20-day is kind of acting as a support. Now it has an overhead resistance here at the price point of 68, where the 200-day moving average is. So if in order to get it standardized, we'll move into a daily time frame chart, and what we can see is that now we actually has a support in the bottom. The 20-day and the 50-day moving average is acting as a support, and we already broke to the upside from this wedge. Now as we broke up high and now we are retesting, so if we manage to reverse and go up high, that's actually a perfect area to buy in. Like if you are a buyer in LTC, based on technicals, for me it looks okay, but it's always up to your decision, right? You can research further, look at the technicals, look at the fundamentals, and then decide what you actually want to do. So I'm not actually a certified financial advisor, so that's advice for caution. This is based on my previous experience. I've been here from last 2.5 years, so this is based on my experience. Now the same as we talked for Ether, XRP and BTC, the MACD here in weekly is showing that it may move up high. And if we look at that from the previous, that should be an area of caution because it went low. But that time, the 200-day moving average was really low compared to the price. But this time, it's currently at a support area. 200-day moving average is supporting the price. Now in daily, yes, it just broke off, but there is a possibility that the MACD can bounce or cross. So once you get the confirmation, whether it's bouncing like this or crossing like this, you should be ready to position yourself. Okay, now moving into the news, we'll move quickly through this, and I'll link all those news and Twitter posts in the description. So if you guys actually want to go and read the full article or the full post, you can. Now this one is showing that the viral video shows Bitcoin newbie surviving on planet Earth for 24 hours without cash or credit. He's using BTC. That's good news, right? If he can survive on Bitcoin, he can survive on other coins like Ether, LTC, and highlighting XRP because the transaction speed and the payment cost is better, right? So if he can survive on this, he can also survive on other top coins. But the condition for that is the stores has to accept our coin. At present, most of the stores, if accepting cryptocurrency, is accepting Bitcoin. So for a trial, trying the survival on Bitcoin for 24 hours is actually good. And that's a good news. Like, people are trying that, if it's possible to do that. Now, the news for Ripple. Ripple CEO says in the long term, XRP will grow and thrive. He's not saying about Ripple will grow and thrive. He's talking about XRP, which they are using for on-demand liquidity now. Because he himself states here, he's not worried about the price of XRP and does not care much about it in a shorter time frame, I believe. In an interview with Bloomberg, he states that we pay attention to the longevity, and he tells that I tell the staff that I do not think about 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months, taking an advantage of the benefit that digital assets can offer to make transactions more efficient is, in his opinion, a journey that will take us a decade or two to complete. Like he says, this is a marathon and we are on the second mile. If you remember, usually he used to state that we are on the first mile. So at least we moved one, right? So during the first mile, the price of XRP moved substantially higher. If you look at it a bit in a zoomed out view and see the percentage of rise which happened previously during just 1 year. If we look at it, it's enormous, 72,000%. Wow. Okay, say you are someone who came in at the highs, I take the all-time highs here, and you had to wait really long time, say 4 years, and you got around 3,000, 4,000, 5,000%. You were able to take your profit around here, not the exact top, but somewhere near. Still, you get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000%, depending upon where you had taken your profit. No financial institution is going to give you that in 4 years. Most of them are now going into negative territory. So this is kind of a better opportunity. See, looking at next 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. Now this is a post from Mark Phillips at Mark_Phillips. He's showing that this is his graphics in which he is showcasing his philosophy. See the adoption, demand, price and value, liquidity, then price and stability. Again, the adoption and movement, repeating that. So the first, I believe, is like this, and the second is institutional investor, OTC. Or if you're starting from here, say it's a retail investor who started that, then the institutions came in for buying OTC. Then now there will be ETFs, then the retirement accounts will come in, dip their toes, so slowly the price may actually move up high. So you can actually look at what he points out like cross-border payments using Ripple, XRapid means XRP. Now they rebranded that as on-demand liquidity using the help of R3 CUDA. Now the only settlement token used is XRP. Then he states about the payment system of Apple Pay, Starbucks, and interbank transfers. Currently it's Swift, right? There may be changes soon, because during this Ripple just announced that they have more than 300 partners. Now this is from Aqua Flow XRP. There's a lot of charts which is put out in this particular Twitter account, showing the previous price fluctuations, the patterns formed, and what is currently happening, and the possibility of what can happen. The different patterns are being analyzed in this, and it's really interesting in that perspective. Now the next Twitter post I would like to that's taking a bit time. So this is another price analyst. So I will actually put this in the description, because we just went through the price, how it fluctuated in different time frames. So that's better. If you guys only want to look at that in again, then you can see that. Now this is, when the price is moving down, a lot of negative articles comes in saying instead of swelling, Ripple is just going down, it's selling. It's bad news. They're showcasing that swell is happening there and the price is going down here. Now that's one negative news, and the other positive one is China excludes Bitcoin mining from restricted activities list. That means now it is not illegal to do that. You can do that legally. So that's actually a better thing to know. If they give permission to BTC now, slowly and surely others can also move there who works on proof of work. Now the reason I'm showing this is because of all the negative news is coming in. This one is a bit old, but in this particular video Tika Tiwari is actually explaining why the negative news is there. When the negative news comes in, the ordinary retail investors just sell their positions in profit or loss. They move out, the price comes a bit down, and the smart money comes in and buy that. Now when I say that, I can show you a experienced individual in this particular area, not cryptocurrencies but investing. That's Howard Marks. In one of his books, he actually explains when the psychology is high and the price is moving to all-time highs, it's not actually the right time to buy in. It's the time to take your profit out, a bit by bit. But when the psychology is low and the price is moving lower, it's not the time to buy in, but it's the time to wait and see what's happening. And again, when the psychology is too low, no one is talking about that, no one cares about that, and the price is consolidating, not making new lows but consolidating in that area, he says that should be the area where you should try to invest aggressively. At the same time, he points out if the price is moving up higher, then it should be an area where you should be cautious and don't be aggressive at that particular stage. You should be defensive. Make your positions in a defensive manner. So when we see news state like this, the swell is happening there, despite the growth of network, the price is moving down. What you have to look at it in a positive way. See what the experts are doing, what the smart money is gonna do. So this pattern is still valid, right? Because we just faked out and we are still within that pattern. So if we are able to break this, I'm not sure about the time frame, but sooner or later we will do that. So once it happens, the price will actually go up high. Now, Brad Garlinghouse is being repeatedly stating that we are not looking at the short-term price fluctuation of XRP. And now we have more than 300 customers for Ripple, and more than 2 dozen of which are using XRapid or on-demand liquidity using our XRP. So it's financial institutions which are regulated, central banks using that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys like, please do subscribe and support the channel. I'll meet you guys in the next video.